Hi there. Welcome to the first episode, as opposed to the pilot episode, of My Mum Said I Could Watch It. I'm Rob Deb, and today I'm going to be reviewing the film in this one, and then later on we'll talk about the extras for Terrorvision. Terrorvision, the special edition, because they always are, DVD and Blu-ray. This time, apparently, this is a media book. No booklet, unlike Munchies. I'm going to try and just focus on the film for this one, because I've got to say a bit of context. Alexa, stop. Alexa, stop. Alright, see, it just is infectious. I saw this film, I think, for the UV of the show. I was too young. We all saw these films a bit too young. I was too young. I was about the same age. The film apparently was 1985. I think 1985. I've got a little thing here, so I remember characters' names. But 1986, and I definitely think it was like came over here on the video in 1986, because that would mean I was barely 10. And I really didn't remember much about the film except for one thing, which just made my 10-year-old life just... And it wasn't the monsters, it wasn't even the deaths, it wasn't even this. There's some sensuality here that was completely over my head at the time. It's the simple fact that, spoiler alert, the bad guy wins. I didn't think that could happen, simply because there was a young kid about my age in it. And you know, kids always survive. Yeah? No. And because that just led to the end of the world at the end of this film, my brain just fixated totally on that. So special effects are really good. Maybe not so much. There's prosthetics in here. Balthar the alien. I should really talk about the premise of the film itself. So you have the Potters, who are an affluent American family. Again, a lot of this, I just accepted this must be how Americans lived. Watching it now, the fact that they basically own their own lane, I just go, no, this is decadence. Oh, also just the overacting of it. So you have this family, the Potters, or rather the Pottermans. Potters are in Troll. That's what I was thinking of that. You've got Stanley, Dad, and you've got Grandpa. You've also got like Raquel, his mum. So you've got that mum, dad, granddad, brother and sister. Right, with Sherman being the youngest one, the kid. It's Reaganomics at its finest. They have bought a satellite dish. Again, for us, that wasn't a thing. As a bit of context, Sky, I think, emerged later because of the show is sort of about that, and was seen as being, for frankly, working class. Or like when I say working class, one of the jokes at the time was the idea that you would get like a council flat, get Sky, get a free council. You know, there's that kind of stigma to it. Or in regards to some I've got to say, half my family on that side of my family, to be able to watch stuff like Z Cinema, or ostensibly not just about Asian families, German films, watching programs from overseas, international channels. So really, unless you were a second-gen family of some description who wanted an international intake, you were just seen as like just the stereotypes, just this idea that it was just something that people who didn't work could afford, in that they couldn't afford but they had the time for, right? Yeah, in America, I loved the idea of Sky myself. We didn't get it, but then again, we were in a money went other ways, and I did have my own video. I mean, now I'm doing this. So these guys have got this. The dad is trying to like Tim Allen this into space satellite so he can get anything from everywhere. Decadent house that I'm going to talk about in a bit. In the meantime, the beginning of the show, of the film, we see the alien being ejected from its home planet. So you have a bit of a Critters thing going on. Pluthar, who we find out later was its owner and that this is some sort of pet, has had to eject it. Basically, the dog's got rabies and they've got to just destroy it. And it finds its way for a bizarre ping pong thing to the Putman's house via the satellite. Now, as the show progresses, other people come and visit them. The monster eats them. It transfers through the TV. We realize that this family is just ruined. And it culminates in the alien, Pluthar, coming down to try and capture what we now know is the Hunger Beast, which is this bizarre, the image I threw up on the screen before, and also metamorph and change into all the other members of the family. Unfortunately, that is stopped. Pluthar is killed. That's when it goes, it's a green man, it's an alien. Boom. And the Hunger Beast will just go on to devour the world. That's the thing. So you've got this family. They all slowly get devoured, running away from the monster. Other people come to the house, much like Clue, and get seen telegrammed. And as this creature evolves, that's it. It's the end of the world. Monster meets family, eats family, moves out. That is the most basic plot line to Terrorvision. However, it's amazing. It is amazing. I didn't realize, because of my age as well, how much sauce is in this. And I'm not talking about nudity. The whole idea is that mum and dad are swingers. And it's not just that they're swingers in some Rita Sue Bob 2 kind of way. The kids are there. Susie, their eldest, the daughter, real Valley Girl punk, is going to meet her boyfriend, OD. Sherman is the younger kid, hangs out with Grandpa, who lives with them. Is just militant. He's raised on Rambo. He is raised on Rambo. This is Reaganomics at its finest. And they turn to the kids because they're talking about using the jacuzzi. Because to me, every American has a jacuzzi. Susie wants to maybe use the jacuzzi later. The parents just turn around and go, no, you can't. We might be fucking strangers later. I'd never heard the term swinging. Their parents are not just swingers. They are open swingers. Every wall of the house is just covered with eroticism, sort of mid-brow, almost not just a bit more expressionist than what you would get with a tennis girl scratching her bum, Athena level. You know, it was very reminiscent of the artwork of Milo Manara. How am I familiar with the artwork of Milo Manara? Doesn't matter. The point is, they got these statues all over the place. They got this art all over the place. It's an incredibly visual, sumptuous house. They leave to go and pick up their partners. And what unfolds is, as the alien slowly manifests in the house, you realize that this family is completely dysfunctional. Grandpa is just waiting for the commies. He's just waiting for the commies. I didn't realize Sherman, the little one, not only does he get, and this is the thing, I'm like, I didn't notice all the sexy stuff and the swingers, and the fact is there's a scene where the alien kind of replicates a 4-way orgy and then grows Grandpa's head. It's all under sort of a blanket. It's not like Brian Yuzna, right? And the kids just turn up and go, oh, that's a bit and then walk off. What? I mean, I know boundary, but what? But Sherman who was my go-to as a 10-year-old and should have been kind of like my hero. He has these moments where he is basically being the Drew Barrymore character from E.T. There's some shot moments where they're trying to humanize the creature, and it is just basically E.T. scenes. There's this random eye and stuff. And he talks to runs away. The whole thing is he's on meds. They've sedated their kids so that they don't really take in, ostensibly, they don't take in this bizarre panto lifestyle that aerobicizing mum and Tim Allen dad of pure Americana have taken on. The film is ultimately about consumerism. The hunger beast is only sated by music and television. It's only controlled by the fact that Odie looks a bit like its owner, who looks a bit like MTV. Everything is destroyed out of their own consumerism. The hunger beast is effectively becoming the family, because devouring them from the inside, because all they know is consumerism. Everything is decadent. Everything is rich. There are some very funny moments. Alessandro, as Spiro, has this lovely little interplay where it turns out he's not there for the wife. He's there for the husband, which is all a bit hello. But as Sherman runs around with automatic firearms and throwing grenades, it's ultimately about this film is the reduction of spectacle. The monster's amazing, but it does consume. And all it wants is more entertainment. And all we want watching it is more entertainment. It's a cabin of the woods of its time. The other final note I would say is that there is some genuine scares in it. There's a really spooky moment where I'm just looking over here to right. Cherry, who's the lady who's come over as one of the swingers, and basically, very frankly, was wasted on me as a 10-year-old. Has been eaten by the monster and has taken over this jacuzzi. You know this as soon as you see the scene. But the play and the suspense before it strikes and devours someone else is just spot on. It's note perfect. So Ted Nicol does do scares within the film, and he does homages within the film. Finally, within Medusa, he also does stuff where he'll close up on... Medusa's like this Elvira character who's in it and is one of the main sort of signature images of the film. The horror hostess, right, on the top there, right? Where, you know, camera, because they're watching the TV, male gazes onto her boobs, but then those boobs morph into a giant 50s pterodactyl vulture thing. It's definitely worth a watch. It's aged in some ways worse because there are cliches, there are stereotypes, but in an LOLO fashion. But it's also, I think, aged for the better because as we constantly consume, what is the end result? So that's what I had to say about the film, and later on I'm going to record about the extras. Don't forget to like and subscribe.